I started oops concept. Okay. I told you very clearly, if you want to become a solid Python developer, oops concepts are mandatory for you. I told you very clearly, oops concepts are mandatory. Is it clear? Okay. So now let's see like what we completed in the last session. I'll give the quick recap. So OOPS concepts, I given you very clear explanation why we need OOPS concepts. After that, I given you very clear explanation. What is a class? What is an object? What is a reference variable? What is a method? What is the method versus function? Types of variables, class variable, static variable, instance variable, non-static variable, local variable, types of methods, class method, instance method, static method, constructor. Okay, all these are giving you the clarity. And what is the specialty of class variable? What is the specialty of instance variable? And why we like how can we define without self? All these things I given explanation in the last session. If you still did not watch that session, it's very recommended for everyone. Kindly watch it. And today, straight away, we will enter into the OOPS principles. We'll enter. Okay. So what functional programming cannot give, what OOPS has is, these are all the principles. Okay. In this, we have inheritance. We have polymorphism. And we have encapsulation, and we also have abstraction. Okay, we have abstraction. So these are all the OOPS principles what we have. So we need to discuss all these OOPS principles. We'll discuss in the today's session. I'll make this OOPS principle very simple language. I'll make sure that you'll understand all these OOPS principles. I hope you all will understand. Okay. So fine, everyone. So far, I hope it's very clear. OOPS principles also, I'll make it very clear. Just concentrate, guys. Just listen. First, we'll discuss about inheritance. Okay. So first, we'll discuss about inheritance. Okay. Inheritance. When I say the term inheritance, so my dear people, inheritance, where we use the term called inheritance in the English, inheritance in the English. So inheriting. Okay, inheriting the properties. We say very clearly, if someone inheriting the properties, then we use inheritance. Inheriting the properties means, okay, to make it more clear, like for example, your parent properties or as your grandparent properties inherited by your parent. From the parent you are taking this. We use the term called inheritance in this case. Okay, it means accessing the properties from one parent to or else from grandparent to parent, parent to child. To make it more clear, okay, in class A, you have a property. That property is nothing but M1. Okay, you have a property from M1. M1 you have property. You have it in class A. Now in class B also you got that requirement. In class B also you have to access the property. In class B also you have to access the property. Same property you need to access. Okay. If that is the case, in class B, again you don't define this M1 again. Instead of defining this M1 again, you will inherit from A. Okay. Then if you create an object for B, you can access, with this object you can access M1, you can access M1 from here. Okay. Clear everyone? You can access M1 from here, you can access. Right? Got it everyone? Okay. So now my dear people, one more time, you have class A, you have some properties. Class B, you have some properties. In class A, you have some properties which you need to access. Okay, again, you don't need to define. I'll show it practically. So in this, we use inheritance. Inheriting the properties from one class to another class. Check. You can see here very clearly. Okay, you can see class A. In class A, I will define M1. I'll say print. I'll say I am from class A. I am from class A. Okay. Right? So now I'm creating an object. Okay. So same M1 I want it in class B. Now, just before creating an object, let's see. In class B also you need it. So inheriting means what? Class B, you write it like this. Automatically, whatever the properties you have it in A, that you get it in B. Now again you can create M2, you can create. That this is the property of B class. I'm from class B. Okay. Now you can see here, I'm creating an object for B class. I'm creating an object for this B class. I'm creating an object. Now this B class, I can happily access M2, I can access. M2 I can access. And at the same time, I can also access M1 also I can access, which is nothing but inheritance. In one class, if you define some property, the same property, if your child class want to access, that is nothing but inheritance. This is called parent class. This is called child class. And based on the number of parent class, number of child class, like there will be different types of inheritances. Okay, single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance. All these are different types of inheritances we have. Okay, so now this is single or simple inheritance. Now when it comes to multi-level, so there will be like grandparent to parent and parent to child. Now here only parent to child we see. Now let me create a class. I'll say class C. I'm defining M3. I'm defining M3. I'll say I'm from class. Okay, class C. I'm from class C. Okay. Now, right? Now you can see. Now I'm trying to access M3. I can access. Now I need to create the class for C. This is multi-level. Okay, based on different scenarios. Inheritance means accessing from one class to another class. So here parent to grandparent, grandparent to parent, parent to grandparent. Now, you can see like C, A, B are two parents. Now C can access A. You can see that you have two parents property you're accessing by one child. This is multiple inheritance. You can see the C can access M1, M2, M3. So grandparent, parent property together, same thing. Or else you can also understand two parents at a time. Okay, multi-level and multiple. Okay, you've seen two parents, one child. So there can be one parent, two childs can also be possible. So A will be a parent class, B will be children class, C will be children class. So here in this case, you need to create two objects you need to create. Okay. So both has to access M1. O should access M1. P should also access M1. Okay. Let me execute this. You can see this is hierarchical inheritance. This is hierarchical inheritance. Okay. And next we also have hybrid inheritance, combination. This is hierarchical. You can combine multiple also you can combine. Now you can take D. This A comma B. Okay. Now you can create an object. Now you can create object. Okay. Now you can execute. You can execute M1, M2, M3, M4. All these methods you can access. Check. M4. Okay, I'm creating an object. I'm accessing. This is hybrid inheritance. Okay. Now, just a minute. You're creating an object for D class, M1, M2. Okay. So here, just a minute. Here, D has to take it from B comma C. Okay, you can see. This is hybrid inheritance. So inheritance means accessing the properties from one class to another class. So depends on the number of classes and number of child classes and parent classes, we have different types. But core inheritance means what? Like you have a class, in that class, you have certain properties. You have one more class, the same properties requested by that class. And every time you cannot define that class properties, you can access from that. Okay, so that is what inheritance concept. This is our first principle. This is our first OOPS principle. Okay, I hope it's very clear. Okay, so you can just practice a number of examples. You can create the scenarios and you can just practice, guys. Then it will be clear. So here I'm just giving you an idea what is exactly inheritance. Okay, but you have to practice after this class. Okay, so then you'll get it in a better way. Okay. After this, I need to discuss about next OOPS principle, polymorphism. OOPS principle, polymorphism. Now what is this polymorphism? What do you mean by, okay, what do you mean by polymorphism? Poly means many, morphism means forms. So polymorphism means mainly many forms. Polymorphism means many forms. Okay, polymorphism means many forms. Okay, so now, like, what will be many forms here? Methods will be many forms. Methods will be many forms. Okay, so now just try to understand polymorphism. As part of polymorphism, we need to discuss two things. One is method overloading. Other one is method overriding. Method overloading, method overriding. Okay, method overloading and method overriding. Now just try to understand. First we'll discuss about method overloading. Method overloading. Okay, method overloading. Now in method overloading, method name will be same. Method name is same. Okay, but parameters will be different. But parameters will be different. I'll show you. Let's try to implement. Let's see how it will be. Now, see here. Check. To creating demo, I'm just giving some demo class. So here I'm giving you M1. So M1. So here I'm passing only one parameter. I'm just passing it as method with 0 parameters. Method with 0 parameters. Okay. Now I'm creating one more method. Self. I took a parameter, I'll say method with one parameter. I'm defining a method. I'm giving one parameter. Now I'm creating one more method. Now I'm creating a method. I'm giving two parameters. I'll say method with two parameters. Okay. Now I'm creating an object. I'm creating an object. Okay. So method overloading means same method name but different parameters. Okay. Now I'm creating an object. I'm creating an object. Now I want to execute it. Now I want to call this method. I'll say O dot M1. O dot M1. Okay. Okay. Now I'm not passing any parameters. I'll say O dot M1. I'll say. When I say O dot M1, when I say O dot M1, just try to understand, will it print this? It has to print it. I'm passing not any parameter. So I expected first method to execute. But unfortunately, it is saying it is missing two required positional arguments, which we given in this third method. So now just try to understand, whenever you try to implement a same method name, but with different parameters, always it is try to execute latest method only. Okay, it won't execute based on the parameters. If you still don't believe me, I'm creating a method. I will be giving every method with different implementation, but I'm not passing any parameters. Now, if you execute, if you see that, okay, last method only will execute. It means method overloading in Python is not going to support. Okay, like to make it more clear, I can say even we don't need method overloading in Python. Why? Because, for example, if I want to pass parameters, I can define one method. I can pass any different parameters I can pass. But limitation is I can pass only two. Now you can see I can pass integers, I can pass. Now again I can pass floating values, I can pass. I can pass two strings, I can pass. Okay, you're able to understand. Check. Okay, so then more than it not supported in Python, better we can say we don't need, just a minute. We don't need method overloading in Python. We don't need method overloading in Python. Okay, why? Because without that also we can get that concept. Different parameters we can give. Why? Because our Python is dynamically typed. We don't need to define it. I am passing two different parameters, two different data types I'm passing. It will work automatically. Is it clear? Method overloading, we don't need it in Python. Now what about method overriding? What do you mean by method overriding? Method overriding means same method will be there, but implementation will be changed. Same method name will be there, but implementations will change. Okay, so how to implement? Let's concentrate. So now I'm passing. Let me write it again. I have, for example, I have class parent. Like for example, parent bought a car for you. They'll say they'll give you BMW car. So automatically child will inherit the property from the parent. They are ready to do that. But here the problem is child also want the car. But the problem here is child don't want to take that BMW car. Okay, child want Benz car. So this is, you're modifying the existing method implementation. You're getting it? So now you create object for this child class. When child class want the car, so whatever he want, he'll get it. You can say. And if you want parent implementation, you can get it with a super default function. I hope it's very clear. This is method overriding. You have a class, but you need to change that implementation. Then you have to go with method overriding. Method overriding. Overloading, same method name, but different parameters. Please confirm me, guys. Is it fine? Okay. So two OOPS principles, what we discussed so far. I hope it's very clear. Inheritance and polymorphism. Yes. You have a chat box there. You're able to understand, guys, OOPS principles. I'm making it very clear. I'm just taking very simple examples so that, like in your brain, like you have to get it very clear. I'm not taking any complex examples. Once you understand, you can expand your examples. Okay. Overriding, same method name. Okay. Implementation will be different. People, they feel it very difficult. People, they feel it difficult. But in my explanation, I'm not taking very big examples. I'm not going fancy. Okay. I want to make sure that the core concept has to enter your brain. Once core concept entered your brain, then you can apply that example to multiple examples, multiple real-time scenarios you can create. But my dear people, that OOPS principle, that core knowledge, the core understanding, you have to be aware. Yes, Ramya, we cannot use method overloading in Python. Why? Because if you try to define the method with different parameters, every time you call that method, only latest method will try to execute. Okay, I hope two OOPS principles are very clear to you. I'm going to the next OOPS principle, and everyone, as soon as I shared that video, kindly just you click on that, just spend for 1 minute and comment there, I attended the class, so that I can understand how many of you are really following. Okay, is it clear, everyone? Right? Shall we move into the next OOPS principle, which is encapsulation? We'll move into encapsulation. We'll move. Okay, let's move into encapsulation. Concentrate, everyone. What is this encapsulation? Okay. So, my dear people, like the reason of using OOPS programming language is what? You can repeat the code, reusability, flexibility, reliability, so many abilities. And at the same time, whatever the web application you are taking, if you're trying to implement with object-oriented programming, it will also get security. Your application will be secure. How it is possible? What do you mean by encapsulation? Encapsulation is very important. So first of all, Like in other languages, what will happen? Okay. So if you observe in Java, there is something called public static void main. What do you mean by public? What do you mean by public? What is this? It is an access modifier. Access modifier will specify how far this main method will execute. Okay. We have public, private, protected. All these are access modifiers. Okay. So depends on the requirement, they'll act. But these are all access modifiers which will enhance the secure features of that applications. Okay. But in Python, how you get it? How can you get it? Encapsulation in the sense. Okay. So people usually say there will be a capsule. Okay. All related classes will be, objects will be bind together. Okay. So that is what the trending example people will give you. Okay. Like it's a collection of classes and objects binded together. You'll see a number of examples there. Yes. So, but what is this? Why we need encapsulation? What it will do? What exactly it will do encapsulation? That is very important. So now, my dear people, for example, you are defining some variable. In a class, you are defining some variable. This variable, you have to see that this will work only within the class. Okay, so whatever the functionality you define, okay, that has to work within the class. Okay, that mechanism you have to get it. Outside of the class, you cannot access. You should not access. Outside of the class, you should not access. You have to get that mechanism. To get that mechanism, unfortunately, we don't have any access modifiers. Unfortunately, we don't have any access modifiers. But what we get it, how to get that functionality in Python. Okay. So first of all, I'll tell you, what do you mean by accessing the variable outside of the class? I think many of you are not aware. I'll tell you, what do you mean by that? Accessing outside of the class, what do you mean by that? I'll give you some clarity. Concentrate everyone. Now, for example, I'm creating a so now here you can see. So now you can see here. I'm creating a class. I'm just giving it as demo class. I'm naming it as yum1. I'll say self. I'll say I'm just giving some method implementation. I'm taking a is equal to 10. So within the class, if you want to access, you have to access with class variable, you have to access. Right? Fine. You have a class, you have a variable, you're accessing. Now I'm creating an object. Once you create an object, after this object, whatever you can see, this is outside of the class. From here also, I'm able to access it. You can see I can print with the object. I can print with the object. Outside of the class also, I'm able to access that variable, which I don't want to do that. This access, okay, where a is equal to 10, from here I should not access it. What we can do? That is the question. Okay, so we don't have any access modifiers. But how to take this variable as a private variable? What we can do? How can we make this variable as a private variable? Okay, you can see. So that mechanism you get it by keeping two underscores. When I say underscore underscore a, you can also give it like this. Check, total I am changing. Now when I try to access this variable outside of the class, you can see you cannot access. Why? Because this underscore underscore a, okay, that created that. Is it clear, everyone? Okay, so that mechanism is called encapsulation, right? So not only variables, same methods also. For example, if I want to make this method as a private method, now if I call it also, if I try to call it, you can see when I try to call this, it says it won't, we cannot calculate, we cannot add it. Why? Because underscore underscore will make sure that that variable will be called by correct person. Is it clear, everyone? Encapsulation is a mechanism where you can bind the data together. Okay, I hope it's very clear. Just you're giving that functionality, you're making it simple. Encapsulation is the mechanism where we can make that. Clear? Encapsulation is okay, right? Next, we'll move into next concept. We'll move into abstraction. All this you have to practice, guys. Abstraction. Abstraction. So what do you mean by abstraction? What do you mean by abstraction? When someone says abstracting the properties, abstraction means what? It is also kind of an hiding only. Kind of hiding only, right? So now what we need to do it here. So sometimes if you observe, like whatever the things we needed, that will be appear in any device. Like what are the things which we don't need, it will not answer. Okay, for example, you forgotten your Gmail password. Okay, and you forgotten your Gmail password, when you reset it, will you work on that, how it got reset? You don't work on that, right? You see that whether my functionality I'm getting it or not. Okay, abstraction, what it will do, it will provide some extra layer of security, that's it. Okay, now let's concentrate. So by default in Python, there is no support for abstraction. But later on, due to different modules, like we got this. Okay, so first from ABC, this is the default module. We need to import ABC class and abstract method. Okay, we're importing this. Okay. Now what is this? So now, my dear people, you are trying to implement this abstraction, you're trying to implement. Now, class. Now you can see here. Okay. So now class in this class, you will be giving you a relevant class which will be common for all the things. But at the top layer, we don't implement anything. Okay, we don't implement anything at the top layer. Okay, like for example, I'll be taking a polygon. I'll be taking polygon. I'll take. So here polygon means what? Which has multiple sides. Polygon means, okay, you have multiple sides, right? So now in this abstraction concept, you need to remember one thing that has to inherit from the abstract class. And in this first session, okay, we don't implement anything. So for example, your goal is to get number of sites. I'm defining number of sites. And this is also a famous example. Different websites will show this. Whenever you find something related to tech, like self, for example. So remember here, you have a polygon, you're trying to implement number of sites. But what exactly you're trying to implement? You're not aware. Okay. So number of sites, okay, depends on it, it will change. Okay. And here, I don't want to implement anything. And at the same time, whatever the method we took, let's say abstract method. Abstract method. Number of sites, there is no implementation here. So I'm giving pass. Now the very important interview question here, guys. This is an abstract class, guys, with abstract method. If you have at least one abstract method, then it is abstract class. Now, what is this pass? Why? Because if I don't give this pass, if I started from the starting, I may get indentation error. To solve that indentation error, I took this pass. Okay. Now, you can see number of sites is not implemented. Like this class is not implemented properly. This class is not implemented properly. Okay. So now, if class not implemented properly, you cannot create an object. If there is no plan, you cannot create an object. So that is the reason when try to create an object for this case, okay, you cannot get it. I'm creating an object. See, polygon, just a minute. Spelling, okay. What it is saying, you cannot instantiate abstract class polygon with abstract method. So abstract class or abstract method, you have nothing to implement. Okay, you're just creating some common class, that's it. You're not implementing anything there. So now for this, what we need to do, what you do? Now you create one more class. Okay, so I belongs to polygon, but I am a triangle. Where it has to inherit? It has to inherit this polygon, it has to inherit. Okay. Now same method you can implement. Number of sides, I'll give it sides. So usually triangle has how many sides? Triangle has 3 sides. As usual, self. Print. Print, just give me 1 minute, guys. My mom is calling, just give me 1 minute. Okay. So now print. Number of sides, like I'll say, this has 3 sides, something like that, some implementation. Okay. Now we'll create one more class. Triangle has 3 sides. Can you tell me which has 4 sides? What do you call that 4 sides? Pentagon, hexagon, quadrilateral. You can just give anything. Any polygon you can give. So if it is quadrilateral will have 4 sides, but its spelling is little bit big, you know. Let's make it pentagon and we'll finish this example. Polygon, same method. Five sides. Like that, you can create it multiple things. Okay. So now, what we need to do? You need to create an object. Like for example, I'll create an object for this triangle. I can implement. I can call that. I can implement for this pentagon. I can call it. Okay. Triangle, just a minute, spelling mistake, spelling mistake. Triangle. Okay, okay. Triangle, sorry guys. Maybe, I am not sure. Maybe. But at least I'll give both are same. Triangle. Okay. Right? This is what abstraction. See, abstraction, like you can just try to understand that, like top level, top, okay, will be hiding. That's it. Is it clear? Okay. So whatever the instances of subclasses, so that will be created and each instance will display. Okay. So base class will go to abstract base class will be polygon. And it also has a method, abstract method, number of sides. But at the top, it won't implement. Okay. See, polygon, I'll take it a polygon. But in that polygon, I'm not sure, while creating this, I'm not sure which polygon will come. But whatever the polygon, let it come, I will implement. Okay. So that is the reason I'll take one common abstract base class, I'll take it. From that, I'll implement. Okay. So later I'll also add quadrilateral also I can add. But base class will be common. Okay. This is abstraction. So many people, they feel it difficult abstraction also. Just try to understand abstraction is the OOPS principle in which abstract base class will be there. One abstract method will be there at that time. There will be no implementation. Okay. And very important class, why we cannot create object for abstract class. Why? Because in the abstract class, there is no implementation in the abstract class. Okay, so that is the reason we cannot create an object. It's nothing but you don't have any proper plan. You don't have any proper plan. You just need only house. Okay, so you cannot construct an house if you don't have a proper plan. Okay, with this, we completed OOPS principles. We started with inheritance. Okay, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction. Okay, within just 1 hour, I hope you got some kind of awareness on OOPS principles, which are very, 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 very important. Okay, in the interviews, definitely they'll ask you, okay, why can't you create an object for this? Okay, you get the questions like that, like how will you add the security? Okay, so what is the mechanism of encapsulation? All these things, at least theoretically, you have to be very, very, like you have to remember these concepts. Okay, definitely this will be important. The fundamental knowledge of OOPS concepts is very important, and from here, it's up to you. You can just practice n number of examples. You have it in the internet. You can practice them. Okay, so this is about object-oriented programming. Okay, within just 2 days, I explained types of variables, types of methods, constructors, OOPS principles, and basics, class, object, method. Okay, so same concepts we can take for 100 days also. But in the given short time, I hope I just given 100%. Okay, what do you say? I given 100% justice to this object-oriented programming. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be discussing about exception handling and fine handling. With exception handling concept, if you understood this exception handling concept in your life, you will never show any kind of fear for any error. Every error you can solve by your own. Okay, I hope it's very clear. Okay, now it's time to open the chat box. I'll open the chat box. I'll check what is your feeling. Okay, so kindly, whenever I share this, okay, you have to comment there. I attended the live. You can just give your reaction. Right, everyone? Right? Short and sweet, OOPS concepts. I hope it's very clear. Short and sweet. Then you need to practice any number of examples. Clear, everyone? You search it any video. You search it on the internet. You complete internet. You search OOPS concepts. Somewhere you'll confuse. Somewhere you'll confuse in the OOPS concepts. And my dear people, I want to make it easy. I want to make it easy. Okay. I'll do that, Maner. I'll do that after that. ABC is a default, Arish. ABC is a default module. ABC is a default module. We are implementing that. Yes, everyone. OOPS concepts. Is it fine? Are you all informing your friends? There will be one fellow. He is teaching Python to me. I am learning. Are you all informing? Yes, you can watch it again. Ramya, you can watch it again. You can take any number of that, like you can add pentagon, triangle, quadrilateral. You can continuously you can add octagon, something like that. Okay. Ramya, abstract method we create it, but we don't use it at the starting. As we going down, we'll be using it. Okay. Any questions, guys? Happy so far? Yes, for him. You can watch the recording. Kindly watch the recording, guys. I hope you're all happy. Day 8 is completed. I hope you're happy for like Mehul. That's not a question. Which city is best for job? You can work from home also. Okay, that's a useless question. Okay, don't ask me. What is which city is best? Anywhere in the world you can learn Python and you can do a job. Not which city. Okay, you can do the work from Andaman. You can do the work from Amazon forest. No issue at all. Hamsa, it will work. It will work. For me, it work. It's worked for me, right? Then it will work for you also. Take this example, take the Photoshop of this and practice. Okay, it will work. Okay, don't say me, I wrote it in the same way. Maybe you just missed some way. And you have n number of examples in the internet. Okay. This is one famous example you've seen everywhere, guys. Ramya, this ABC package, this module is an inbuilt module. I'm importing this. Self is compulsory for this kind of methods. If it is a static method, we don't need. Shubhasri, you can practice in Visual Studio Code. You can practice, no problem at all. No problem at all. You can practice there also. But for me, for my students, I feel everyone is beginner. And here, I want you to write entire code by you. Okay, I don't want to get any hint or help from any other things. Here, I am writing every code I am writing from the scratch. Is it clear? I'm writing everything I'm writing from the scratch. But if you use any other IDEs, it will help you. I don't want to give you that help. Okay, why? Because we are learning it for the first time, right? We are learning it for the first time, right? When you're doing it for the first time, do it by your own entire code. No shortcuts. Okay, we are writing it by our own. That's the reason. Okay, so later on, if you want to implement and all, you can practice that. And if you see, when I teach you data science, I'll install Anaconda. I'll teach you how to install that Jupyter notebook. After that, I'll teach you. Okay, and if I want to implement any web development project, I will be using Python or Visual Studio Code. I'll be using and I'm implementing with that. Depends on the requirement. I'll go with. If it is a only data science project, I'll take only Jupyter notebook and implement. If I want to host my data science project, if I want to deploy it somewhere, I'll take this Visual Studio. So it depends on the requirement. Constructor is completed. Constructor is a default method, which makes our method call directly. Okay, it's a special method. Constructor is a special method. Last session, I explained